I've examined like YouTube a lot, and I've seen these really small creators. I mean, I'm small as well. Yeah, let's make that really clear. There's a majority of people that I feel are still developing, still trying to find themselves. I'm on that same path, and I'm not going to exclude myself from it, because you have to really think and be aware of the people that are really around you, that are in the same puddle as you. There's like a beauty to really acknowledging that, and taking that in, and like just being cool with it. We're both trying to find ourselves, trying to find something that sticks. And with the YouTube game, if it's becoming like a really big platform. I mean, it's already big on its own, but it's become way bigger than I thought it was. Back then it wasn't like so established. Even though I may have been young, I didn't have like any like strong intentions with like doing YouTube back then, because first of all, I was a kid trying to find what to do with his spare time, playing games on his phone. Simple life. Now YouTube has really become like a really like huge outlet for influencers, and it's become like the top platform for growth as a creator. And I've been really trying to see to it how you could really establish yourself on there. And it's different, because people have like these ideas, these strategies all around, and I've obviously been seeing them, trying to understand them. Like it's almost like you're in a game. You're in for like a few days. You're still beginning. You suck at every game. You lose at every game, and then you go in. See how things go. You get used to it, and you start to pick up some wins. And then you finally go into those like strong players like lobbies, and then you realize like how bad you really are. That's the same thing with YouTube. Like these are these strategies. You gotta do this hooks. There's such a high level of things that you have to implement. And I see that, and if you compare that like to days before, years before that, in those early stages, it would just be like thinking too much about it. You're overthinking. You're too like strategic. You're stripping the fun out of it, because YouTube back then wasn't like really anything like serious. It was just like all fun moments, connecting with someone, and I feel like that aspect, even though there are some people who really take advantage of that and are thriving because of it, that was like a really strong indicator of a person or a channel that is really successful. But nowadays, you can build your way up and actually be sure of that happening, of the views getting in, the likes you want, the interactions, and all of those things. You could actually plan that. Back then it wasn't like the same. Although you could, maybe argue, but now it's changing. I think establishing yourself, really thinking about it, being really serious about it, is the best thing you could do to yourself as a small creator. And if I were to give advice, even though I might not be the most shiny explanation of it or example of it. Sorry, I mean I might not be the best example of it, because you could go look at the view count, the sub count right now. But you might be watching this from the future, and maybe I got somewhere. You really have to like take into consideration like where you stand as a person, because there's a whole like ecosystem of like people who are doing the same things as you, and that has to really motivate you to establish yourself, but in a way that is unique from others. Because you could make the exact same content as someone, but if you don't grow in yourself, and because we all are different, we all are unique, that is what makes you like a strong creator. If you really think about, do I show a little bit of myself in this video? Am I really open? Of course, you could be maybe an educational channel. You might be even a faceless channel. You could do all of those things, but people still have this mentality of like, they build this like mental framework of, or this mental image of, this is that creator, he did this and that, so I find him as maybe less appealing or even more appealing, because something about him, it just attracts me to that person. And I realize like psychology plays a lot into this economy, you could probably call it, but knowing the audience and knowing yourself establishing yourself and playing your cards really right is the best thing you could do. And I know this sounds really, really vague, but if you start to think in that way, have a perspective on these things, oh, I want to be committed to my channel, and that just means pouring yourself into the channel, maybe. And I should have said really maybe. It's a definitely. You definitely have to do that. I may have difficulties, speaking to a camera, and I'm learning. First of all, English is not my native tongue. This accent that I'm making up, American accent, I'm not American. I'm South African. And of course, I could be speaking normal English to you guys like this. For me, I guess languages, especially if you're not from you're not an English speaking person, it's different to change yourself into someone who regularly speaks like English and thinks of it in a way that is that doesn't like conflict between the two languages that you maybe have, or 3 or 4 that you have. But really, what I'm trying to get at is, if you ever want to establish yourself like really, there are some perspectives that you need to adopt that I think are really going to be beneficial. Because for me, especially for those who try to make creator first like channels, like what I'm trying to do, or in simple terms, you want to present yourself, some perspectives that you need to really adopt and be aware of, because sometimes you could watch all these YouTube videos, these tutorials about how to create the best video, speak this, speak that, make the best jokes, but there's just some things that you have to that have to click in your head. I used to think I gotta get the best games and play them, and just deliver some commentary, put myself aside. That's not gonna cut it. I have to think, oh, this person wants me to play the game. It's not this person wants me to play this game. This person wants me. It's really powerful if you have this kind of like confidence in you, and if you wanna really make it out. And I know there's a ton of channels that I've seen like in the same niche as me, trying to figure out like where they belong, or just throwing things at a wall and expecting them to work. There's this quote that I've seen. Well, let me actually search it up before I mislead you guys. Change, but start slowly, because direction is more important than speed. I kind of live by that, because we're so quick to try to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. What video is gonna pop off. Keep on delivering. I know it works, and I'm not gonna blame you for that, because I might have done the same thing as well. Just imagine like you got 3 million views overnight, your first video, and you're still like a noob, like how I was I would say almost a year ago. Your video just popped off. I would never be able to handle that, because now people know you for something, and you can't just make a new channel, because that's kind of just cheap, because literally your first video. But as you develop, and maybe you get a hit, a lot of people just shimmy, they shimmy through, they try to find why could I maybe post next, because the expectations are so high, which you believe, because the video popped off. Because of that, simply just because of that, holding these massive expectations that you created for yourself are really gonna put you in a really bad position. And the same thing with music, because they'll take us hit. Having your first hit really early in your career is incredibly bad, because now you have fans that you've never known your entire career. And they are there just because your song hit. 3 to 4 years in your career, you have fans, and you get your hits, your first hit. Then, it's nice to have these new people show up, and then you're like, damn, I have OGs who stick to me, through thick and thin. And then, these new people, maybe from TikTok, most likely from TikTok. Same thing counts for YouTube. My videos, although the non-masker was the video that kind of popped off in a sense, because that was the highest in view count on the channel ever, 3.4k. Of course, in today's standards, it might be bad because you know, one man's stress is another man's treasure. I'm grateful for that. Of course now views are not looking good, but I mean, I just took a break, so you have to understand. You know, sometimes I take breaks because sometimes there's just some things, you know, happening. You know, I have to take care. You know, someone might visit me, or I might just be out. Or of course, I don't do that in vain, just to have a break. But if you wanna ever get far on YouTube, you have to be willing to say no to complacency. You cannot be complacent, if that's the right word, with where you are or what the quality of the video is. You need to find something that you feel is something that builds you up and that builds the channel up. And once those two things connect, then you have like a nice what's the word for it, you're on the right track, you could say. Because knowing what your audience wants, knowing what you love and want for yourself, and delivering it, because I mean, each video I make it so that it's something I would want to see on YouTube. I would love to go and watch this guy, although I don't possess the personality that might attract people, but I could learn sometimes. You need to realize that even though sometimes there might be flaws about you, you might try to force some things. You know, maybe you're not comfortable with a camera, like moi. If it's a necessity that you have to go out of your comfort zone and you know, see what you can do with yourself, get out of, you know, that safety net that you build for yourself, then I feel, and I could possibly say, I guarantee you will find what you're looking for there. The best advice that I could ever give you, to any person, big or small, that's trying to get somewhere, your comfort zone will just never ever bring you anywhere. If you're too complacent, if you're too stuck in what you believe is the best you could deliver, then I don't know about you, you have to go. You have to go. Then, you know, you didn't have to even click on this video. If you had to ask me, how do I make it on YouTube? I would say, post a bunch of videos. Post as much as you can and see what sticks, and build from that onwards. But if you really had to ask me, how do I grow on YouTube? Establish yourself. Build yourself. You know, whatever your craft is, master it. Each and every video needs to be better than the previous one. Know where you stand against other people on your niche. See what your competition is, and really stick to it. Really stick to the, you know, routine that you might have. Think highly of yourself, but never above others. And then I'll see you then on the other side. So get out of that shit. Whatever dream you have, first of all, doesn't matter that that I'm talking about YouTube. This counts for everything. Whatever it is you have to do, just do it. Because the time we have isn't as much. We have so much time that we can cherish it. We have so much time that we can waste it. You know, you never know when, you know, it could just all be over, you know. There's always this fear inside of me that, you know, I might not even make it, you know. But I'm grateful that I tried. I would rather have failed than have never tried and been uncertain my whole life. I'm grateful that I'm here, this lowly place, because then I know I could build myself, and someday they might call me up, they might call you up, and from there you just gotta show yourself. It's your time to shine. I believe in you. Peace.